I still can manifest even when I feel like crap. A lot of people say in order to manifest things, you have to have high vibrations and high energy. I want to debunk that a little bit because high energy is not consistent necessarily. Think about the time when you were a baby. You were able to move through your emotions very quickly, and that actually should be normalized. The thing that we've learned is that we have to sit and stew in our emotions, or we should not focus on our emotions and just do false positivity. But that doesn't actually help you manifest anything faster. In my experiences, the more I did the healing work and the inner work, and I was able to process a lot of the things that were troubling me or that I was going through, the more I was able to have like really fast breakthroughs. And so if you are someone who has been suppressing your emotions and just being fake positive, like, oh, I just have to be positive all the time, I can't say this or I can't say that, you're actually suppressing your emotions, and deep down you're bottling all of them up. Think about when you were a baby. If you were sad because you couldn't get something that you wanted, you started crying, right? You just cried. You responded to what was happening around you, and you were able to express yourself freely without anyone telling you, shut up, be quiet, stop crying. You're not supposed to cry. You knew that when you were sad, you cried, and that was a part of your nature, and that is healthy. And there's so much science that backs up the healing benefits and health benefits of crying often. And yet we're taught, suck it up, get over it, especially in the Black and minority households. So when it comes down to it, being able to process your emotions, not just crying, but actually feeling what you feel. Anger, for example. I recently heard a girl say, oh, I'm struggling right now, but I don't want to have any bad emotions. And that's what really inspired me to do this video, because when I hear things like this in the DMs, I'm like, there are no bad emotions. Every emotion that you have, emotions are just energy in motion. So when you have this energy, what are you doing with the energy? How are you channeling the energy? How are you expressing or moving through the energy? I talked about this in another video where I was really devastated by a former friend of mine and how disrespectful her behavior was toward me. A lot of the things that she said, how she disrespected me, how she had the nerve to like have certain comments that came out of her mouth to speak to me, because I would never speak to someone in a certain tone, especially as a friend, quote unquote. And I knew that cutting her off was the best option for myself and for my sanity. But with any loss, even a loss of friendship, it can hurt. It can feel really bad because you're like, wow, I've known this person for 10 plus years, especially those long-term friendships. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh my goodness, that really hurts that I'm no longer going to be able to speak to this person anymore. This is really sad. This is devastating. But I had to move through that energy and express that and be like, yeah, I do feel upset. I do feel disappointed because I really cared about that person and I still love that person. Can we normalize that? Like expressing our emotions when things actually happen? And I was able to eventually release the emotions, but not before actually processing them and saying, how did this actually make me feel? And it did make me feel like crap. And that's okay that I was able to feel like crap. I still can manifest even when I feel like crap. I've seen people manifest things when they were angry and saying, I want this to happen. I want this to happen because then I can do this. And they took their power back from that anger and frustration. And those things actually started happening very fast for that person, being able to say, I want this thing to happen, and it happened. And what seemed like a bad thing happening actually benefited them to making more money and to being able to take control and take back their power. So what I would say is harness the anger, harness the sadness, harness the grief, harness the joy, harness the laughter, harness those moments where you're confused or you're questioning yourself. We're people. We are human beings and not human doings. And I say this often as an identity coach and spiritual guide. I say this so often because I see a lot of people doing things, but not being. The essence of truly being and expressing your emotions and not suppressing those and releasing those and being able to bring them to the surface to express yourself in a healthy way. I'm not saying go to the store and start going off beating up people. Like, don't do crazy stuff. All right. But what I am saying is when it comes to expressing your own emotions, you have to find a way to move through that. One of the things I love doing, one day I was really pissed off. I was angry. I allowed myself to be angry. And then I realized I needed to calm down. And so I took a breath, I sat on my mat and I just started to breathe and just return to my breath. And I ended up crying because I was so upset and disappointed by someone who I trusted. And, that person not being able to follow through on their word. I mean, this is someone who literally signed a contract and then did not follow through on their word. It broke my heart because I'm like, I delivered these amazing things for you. You signed a contract, you promised, oh yeah, I'm going to do it, and then didn't do it. When people don't follow through with their word, it sets up this disappointment, and it reopened that wound of abandonment and rejection and feeling like, wow, this person really said they were going to do something and didn't do it. It's okay for us to feel. I think the more that we normalize feeling and allowing ourselves, giving ourselves space to heal, it doesn't mean stay there, by the way. It gives us a space to express ourselves and then to move forward. How are you channeling your anger, your frustration? Think about it. Slavery would have never ended if people weren't frustrated, if people weren't angry, if people weren't tired of picking cotton in America, right? After a while, there was an actual escape plan. Harriet was like, oh, hell no, we got to do something about this. And that's when things started moving. Also, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. You're looking at all these individuals who were like, let's take our anger and use it to change everything. We're going to create change because we will not accept this. Rosa Parks saying, no, I'm not getting off this damn bus. Yeah, these are the change makers. They took their anger, they took their frustration, they took their sadness of what they were encountering and said, this is not okay. So if you think your emotions are bad, you are wrong. Your emotions are what fuel you and what can motivate you. Now, does it mean stay there and stew in it and always be angry every day? Well, that's not good for your mental health either. You know what I mean? You have to find a way to channel that into something. So for example, if you don't like something and you post about that on social media, it doesn't matter who doesn't like what you had to say. You shared your opinion. You expressed it. You put it out there to the public. You were real enough to do that. You being in your truest authentic form is what's actually going to benefit you more than trying to be fake and pretend you're positive every day, because life ain't always positive. There are things that happen. There are things that come up. And if you're not processing those things properly, channeling that energy. My frustration with the healing community is always, it has to be heavy. It has to be hard. I don't believe in that. I feel like healing should also be empowering. It should be fun. It includes joy and it includes letting your inner child run free. I don't think healing is only about crying. I think healing is also being able to feel safe. So whatever that looks like for you, me going out playing basketball after not doing that for so many years in my 30s, like that felt really good. Now I was sore the next day and I chipped a nail, so I wasn't happy about that, but it was so cool to not even care. I didn't care who was around me, who was watching me. I just got to have fun shooting hoops. So if you are someone who wants to move through or process your emotions, get outside, go do something. If the weather doesn't allow you to at that time, like we had a nor'easter recently where there was a lot of rain, how can you do something at home to process those emotions? Like today is one of those days where it's just a rainy day. And I said, well, time to film some YouTube content, right? I'm channeling the energy and being like, okay, today's a calmer day, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to film and show up on YouTube. It doesn't mean I'm not going to film these videos and show up and take my creativity and channel that. Even though I'm in a calm state, I'm going to be energized when I create content. So know thyself, know yourself, know where your energy is placed. If you know you're not a morning person, stop trying to go so hard in the morning. Schedule it for the afternoon. For me, my energy is ignited in the afternoon. And I have this amazing millionaire mentor of mine who mentioned that she doesn't start any meetings until 12 noon. Her energy in the morning is about working out and just taking care of herself and meditating and doing her thing. So in the afternoon, that's when she schedules her meetings. Same thing I do. If you're a night owl and you want to film videos at night, full transparency, this video is filmed at nighttime. You can do that. There's no rules to this. Oh, the day is over. No, the day's not over until you say it's over. You start your day when you want to start. You finish when you want to finish. You process your emotions how you want to process. So if you're angry and you want to go on a social media rant, go do it. Go do it. I'm not going to stop you. I think we stop ourselves because we say, oh, we shouldn't do. So don't block your own blessing and say, oh, I can't manifest because of my emotions. Your emotions are so powerful. They're sharing where you are at that moment in time. And it's okay to be real with yourself and true to yourself and say, okay, this is how I'm feeling at this time. Why? And allow yourself to express that in a healthy way. Also, I would love to hear from you in the comments. What's a healthy way that you love expressing your emotions? And have you noticed in the manifestation community, people saying just be positive or keep your vibrations high? Your vibrations are high, by the way, when your emotions are high. So that can be anger, that can be sadness, that can be whatever it is. You have to process that. And I think that's very healthy, not suppressing and avoiding, because then it turns into avoidance and then not allowing yourself to express. So let me know your opinion in the comments of what you think. I would love to hear from you. Really enjoyed this video and I have way more more on the way. So definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an upload. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.